What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
This episode is brought to you by George Wall Ford. George Wall Ford in Red Bank, New Jersey is family owned and operated, proudly serving New Jersey residents with superior customer service since 1960. Rye, share your story about your experience there.
Mike, I went on a tangent in one of our episodes previously about it, but I can't say enough good things about George Wall Ford. I needed a new car. I had an old. I loved the brand that I had. I loved, it was an SUV, but had 165,000 miles on it. It was just time, So I hopped on over to George Wall Ford. I saw our guy Jerry, and Jerry and his team were awesome. I mean, from stem to stern, they're there, they're helping, they're knowledgeable. They have so many cars on the lot that you can go in and say, hey, I want a sunroof, a navigation. I want this kind of rims on it. I want this kind of this, that, and the other thing. There's a great chance that they have that car with all your specs, the color, all that thing. Me, I didn't particularly care. I was like, hey, I want to be high up in the car, right? I need an SUV. I'm a big guy. I got a dog. I got golf clubs. I got beach chairs in the summer. I need something that's a little more rugged, a little more. Again, I like to be higher in my car. And I went and saw Jerry. He pointed me in the right direction. And again, it's awesome to have that kind of help and support from your salesman to the finance guy to even they got somebody who helps you set up your car, right? I got an app on my phone now that's got my auto start on it. I can locate my car if I don't know where it is. I could take a trip to Japan if I wanted to and be like, did I lock my car? And I can go into the app and lock my car. So even people helping you set up that stuff, just the hands-on approach over there is incredible. So if you need a car, head on over to George Wall. And go ask for Jerry. They were awesome there. Again, stem to stern from everybody. I can't say enough good things about it. It was an unbelievable experience.
So to Ryan's point, there isn't a better place to shop for a brand new car. Just call 732-704-1932 and ask for Jeremy Wall. George Wall Ford in Red Bank for all your car buying needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Kulat.
What's up, Drop Pod people? How you doing? This is Interview Thursday. We have an incredible winner on this week. The winner of the New Jersey State Open, Derek Gutierrez. Derek just finished his freshman year at Rutgers, going into his sophomore year. And just burst onto the scene. It's incredible what he did at Plainfield, how he won it. Some of the things that he experienced there, and even going further, the type of person he is, his upbringing, how he views the game of golf, how he works at the game of golf. It was really an incredible story to hear, and I think you guys are all going to enjoy hearing kind of where he's come from to where he is now.
Yeah, listen, what a way to start his sophomore year at Rutgers. And I think the one thing that I kind of like and kind of mirror from last week with Reed to this week with Derek is you have two college kids that came up very differently, okay? Mm-hmm. Very differently, but still are having tremendous success, which just shows the everyday person that, hey, listen, it doesn't matter where you came from or what you had or all those amazing resources that sometimes we just all don't have. Anybody can get the job done when your work ethic speaks for itself. And I think hearing Derek's story similar to Reed's, it's inspiring.
Absolutely. So we're going to not hold you up much longer. We're going to send you to our interview with Derek. Hope you enjoy it. Cheers.
So today's guest, this is one of the things that we like to do when we're talking golfing in the Garden State is to get people on who win. And who better than the 104th New Jersey Open champion, Derek Gutierrez. Derek, thank you so much for coming on today's show.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
There's a lot to get into here, man. There's a lot, because I think winning the Open at a special spot like Plainfield is just one huge piece to this puzzle. But I think for our audience a little bit, you may not be that household name of these local head pros, these local directors of golf that people may know about. So why don't you give the audience a little bit of background about you, how you got into the game, where you went to high school, and obviously now being at Rutgers.
Yeah, so I got into the game through my brother. Him and my dad always went out to the course, and he's about like 8 years older than me, so I was always like the little younger brother. Um, and I just wanted to try and be like him, so I would try to complain and cry and go to the course with him. And eventually, someday they took me, and then I was just hooked ever since. Just I try to take a club out of his hand, hit the ball, and that was about it. I grew up playing across the street from Plainfield, actually. I played at Plainfield West 9 for most of my childhood, just getting there early in the morning, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, and then just going out and just keep going around 9 holes all day, every day, which was a lot of fun to me, just hitting different shots, playing the same holes over again, but hitting different clubs. And then eventually got to high school, um, and then was fortunate enough to be recruited by Coach Schutte and the Rutgers family, and kind of found a great home there.
Where did you go to high school?
Cranford. I was at Cranford High School, public school kid. Went through the whole system. I had a great time. Met a lot of good friends, good teachers. So it was great.
I love that story because you go from, growing up playing at Plainfield 9 West, which is a public track, correct?
Yeah,
It's not
public.
a private place. So you're at a public course and you go to public school, and now you're at the state's public university. It's not like you grew up on a country club. It's not like you grew up with the quote unquote silver spoon in your mouth there as far as golf is concerned. So I love that story and kind of picking yourself up and making yourself into what seems to be quite a good golfer.
Thank you. Yeah, I kind of had from a young age, my father always kind of said like I'm not I'm super fortunate to have everything I have outside of golf and two parents and living in a great town, but not having the what's it called, like not having access to country clubs and all these top coaches. So I just had to work a little bit harder, but I had fun, just the grind through it, just going out there every day, playing for a couple of dollars here and there with buddies, or maybe a box of balls or something like that. It was fun.
Do you feel like that fuels you now, even today? Like you've gotten up to you're playing Big Ten golf. Do you feel like that's still like that drive from when you were little, not looking at one of the best country clubs in New Jersey and golf courses, like being in that shadow? Do you feel like that still drives you even today?
Yeah, I definitely think that whole upbringing has a big part of who I am today. Going out and seeing the playing field across the street, a nice club, um, and then playing at Plainfield West 9, you always kind of want to play events at nice courses like that, and and then playing Big Ten golf and college golf, really playing all these nice courses. You kind of look at it from a different perspective and have a lot of you're very thankful that you get to be in those positions.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
bet.
I think one of the things that when you describe that type of upbringing is just like that resilient attitude of like no matter what, like I'm gonna figure out a way to get this done, and if that means I got to do something a little longer or a little more diligent or a little harder, well, I'm gonna find ways to outwork you. And I think that's a good lesson for a lot of the we have a lot of different variations of people that listen to the podcast. We get high school kids, we get college kids, we got guys in the business, and one of the questions I had gotten last summer a lot when we had a lot of college kids like you on the show was, like, how can kids get to the level that you're at? And I think a lot of times people kind of forget that, like, hey, listen, you've got to put the time and effort in to do the things that you want to do. It's just not going to happen overnight. And I think, you doing things like that kind of reemphasizes that to the youth, like, hey, listen, I don't need to have the country club membership. I don't need to have the primetime coach. I can figure it out with the resources that I have if I want to get it done.
100%. I mean, it's kind of cliche, but if there's a will, there's definitely a way. Like you don't you don't need to have all those crazy things. You just need good attitude, good work ethic, and just look forward to every day a new challenge.
Love that. Love that.
So let's get into this thing, because I mean, listen, when I am probably a big time nerd here when it comes to golf tournaments in New Jersey, following along. My phone is constantly refreshing to see if you made birdie, you made bogey, you made par, what hole are people on? Like, I'm that guy.
Hmm.
And when I saw your opening round, because let's go through this kind of round by round. When I saw your opening round of 67, I can't lie, I was stunned because I didn't really know what type of rounds people were going to play out there. You obviously know the
Hmm.
golf course is going to go from a par 72 to a par 71. You know how hard it is. You know the history of the place. I didn't know if anybody could really get, and some people may say 4 under is really not that low, but I was actually really, really impressed with an opening round 67. And then when I looked at your scorecard, there weren't really any blemishes, a bogey or two here or there, but nothing that like stood out. How did you feel going into that round? And then when you putted the last ball in, how did you feel afterwards?
Um, but going into the round, I felt pretty solid. My game has definitely been trending. I've been working really hard, and day before I played USM final qualifying, shot even, but like I hit the ball really well and just putts didn't fall. So I knew going into Plainfield, I just kept the same attitude, positive outlook, hit center greens, hit fairways, and just try to let my putter talk. And it definitely did that day.
It talked the talk and it walked the walk this week.
Did
Hmm.
prior to the tournament, did you have you had played Plainfield before? I got to assume, being across the street, you may have hopped on once or twice or snuck on here or there. I won't tell anybody, but I am kind of curious if you had some rounds in there beforehand.
Yeah, so as a kid, I probably played it 2 or 3 times, but leading up to the event, um, being on Rutgers, we played it like twice, and then Rhett Sellers, who's the assistant professional there now, old teammate of mine, he works there. So him and my caddy for the week, we would go out and play 9 or 18, probably like 3 times before the event, and then had the practice round. So I knew the course decent bit. Um, Watched the Barclays when it was there. So and then being across the street, it felt kind of like at home.
It's summertime, the perfect time to get that new boat you've been dreaming about. Comstock Yacht Sales, your trusted local boating source since 1973, now has 2 locations. Visit their new sales center in Seabright. In addition to their original 50-year-old family business in Brick, Comstock is the largest dealer for Grady White boats, offering 22 models to suit every size and budget. Stop by either location any day of the week to explore their impressive Grady lineup tailored to meet your family's needs. Don't forget, check out their full inventory of new and pre-owned boats online anytime at ComstockYachtSales.com. Get your Grady today.
Yeah,
That
that's
is-
a huge advantage. It really is. Mike, I'm glad you asked that because I kind of had the same question. Like, being so close and it's right in your backyard, but coming from the upbringing, is it something that you got into? So going into that first round, you said you're playing well. You just wanted to let the putter talk. Was there anything that made you like that brought you any concern, or did you with those practice rounds, or did you just kind of feel like at ease and just felt um, felt like natural over it?
Yeah, so I knew I was playing well. So I wasn't super nervous or worried about how I was hitting the ball. I knew if I just kept a good aggressive mentality and just continued what I was doing for really past like month and a half, I would go out there and I'll just be in a good position. I was really going into the tournament, I didn't have any expectations, so I didn't really put any pressure on myself. And I've been working a lot with Coach Matt Wilson and Baltusrol, and we've been talking about just not trying to put any pressure on ourselves and just keep everything patient and then just go through a process for each shot. And if you just hit that process, then it's a good shot, no matter what the result of it is. So that took a lot of pressure off me throughout the round.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, I think that's something you hear a lot from the pros too, is like focus on the process, not so much the result. So, after that opening round 67, I think this is when things get kind of interesting because I always say it's easy in a sense, maybe for people like you, not Ryan and I, but like to go out there in a tournament to post a 67, right? It's like, all right, I've done it before, I can do it. But now you're sleeping on a lead. And now
Mhm.
and I know a lot of the names that are right behind you, and I'm sure you've seen their names in other tournaments as well. And you start to see a lot of these guys start creeping around your name. You got Troy Vanucci, you got Chris DeJean, you got Ricky Calve, you got guys that like can flat out just like you golf their golf ball. Going to sleep with the lead, were you able to fall asleep easily on Tuesday night, or was your mind racing a little bit like, all right, here we go. Like I have a legit chance to piece this puzzle together.
Um, on Tuesday night, no. I knew there was still a lot of golf left, 36 holes left. Anything can happen. There's a lot of hard holes out there. I tried to stay very critical about how I played, so I wasn't trying to get too far ahead of myself. Um, and really just try to fix my mistakes I made that first round and just go out there and just be aggressive. Like same thing on the first round.
Yeah, I mean, because you followed the 67 up round one, and then you do the same damn thing in the second round, and it's like, okay, like if my math was correct, I think you had like a 4 or 5 shot lead going into the final round. And
Five shot, yep.
now, yeah, five. Okay, yeah. So, some people were texting me on the side, like, what do I think? What do I think? And I said that's a lot of shots, unless you had some monster blow up hole or someone went ridiculously low, which I didn't think was really out there at Plainfield.
Right,
If
62
you,
wasn't.
yeah,
We
it
thought that
wasn't
wasn't
happening
realistic. Yeah.
unless you made a couple triples or a double every so often. Like, I kind of felt like it was going to be yours. So, like, after you finish that second round 67, you're walking away from Plainfield. I mean, there's got to be some huge smile on your face saying, like, we're 18 holes away from becoming just another one of these few amateurs to win this event. No?
14th amateur.
So yeah, after the round, went straight to the range, worked on a few things. Again, I just try to stick to like within me and control what I could control. I worked on the basics on the range, hit a couple putts, make sure everything was right. And I just try to do that after every round, no matter if it's a 82, 81, 62, 64, 67, whatever. I just always try to stick to that same routine. And I definitely was leaving the course very, very happy with my position, of course, a 5 shot lead. But I didn't try to get too far ahead of myself. Again, I still knew there was 18 holes out there, but like in the back of my mind, I knew like 64 is not really out there this week. So it's a little bit of a breather.
And how did you sleep that night? Like now you're sleeping on a lead. Did you sleep? Like I mean, I know how I am. My mind would be racing nonstop, and I'd be up 24/7. I mean, guys like you that probably win a lot, play well a lot. Like I don't typically do that. So, is your mind racing Wednesday night, or are you like, you know what? I'm able to just to shut this thing down. I'll wake up Thursday.
It was definitely hard to eat dinner. I was kind of picking at it, but it
Pushing the
was hard to
peas
eat
around.
dinner. Yeah. Um, it took a while to go to sleep, to be honest. I was kind of tossing and turning. Because, like, you obviously in the back of the mind, like, you try to play it off cool, but you obviously know, like, it's the Open Championship, so it means it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I would say.
Yeah, for
I would
sure.
say.
So to me, that second 67 is the more impressive because you go out, you're kind of free flowing. Let's let's see if we can get off to a hot start, and you do, right? The first one, you know you can do that. To then
Hmm.
follow it up with another 67 to me is the tougher thing, the more impressive thing. Using that like grit to do it. Did you find that your mentality changed from the second to the third round in that kind of like grind mode that you're in, so to speak?
No, not really. I feel the first two rounds, my ball control was pretty good. It was up to my standards, and then third round, it was kind of all over the place for multiple reasons. But the second round to the third round was all I had the same mentality all three rounds of patience. That was really kind of my motto the whole summer, really. Patience, and then just having fun, talking with my caddy Noah. We just had we were just a couple boys out there having fun.
Yeah, I like
And
that.
I,
And I like that you said patience, but you also said something before, like control what you can control. And I think that that's so important in the golf game because there's so many times that like you get a bad break after a good shot or you get a good break after a bad shot that golf's kind of unpredictable in that regard. So
Hmm.
keeping yourself patient and leveled after something that's out of your control is really important. So I think that that's a really good mindset having just in general for golf, but then obviously keeping you cool and able to do what you do in the final round.
Hmm.
how nervous were we? Now we get to the first tee, right? You're sitting on this 5-shot lead, and I gotta think that sometimes there are human elements that step into your brain and like, you know what? Listen, as long as I don't blow up today, I should be able to win this damn thing. How are you feeling on that first tee box there? Because when Ryan and I were there, we love that first tee. It's kind of like you're kind of like have a little bit of an audience there. You're kind of coming out into
Hmm.
a shoot. It's not the hardest opening hole. It's a little forgiving in some aspects where just got to get it out there, avoid the fairway bunker. But like, how are you feeling going off that first hole with that lead in the final round?
That whole morning, I was pretty nervous until I got to the golf course. I just kind of needed to get there and get back to my routine, and everything kind of fell in place. On the range, I wasn't really hitting it great, but I wasn't really hitting it great all the other days also, and I just try to treat it like a warm up and then forget about it. First tee shot, I wasn't too nervous to be honest. I was like, let's just go out there and let's just play golf like I played the last 2 days, and probably hit a pretty big block slice right past six tee box, the par three,
Yeah, yeah.
and I was like, well, can't really go much worse than this, so let's just go out there and hit the ball.
Did it stay in bounds?
It did, yeah. It was in bounds. It was
And
fine,
then
but
Yeah. Okay.
it was big. It was a big slice.
I'm
Because that was the one thing that Mike and I said to Mike when we were there. I was like, out of bounds can creep up over there for someone like me. For you guys, not so much, but for, it's something that I looked over there and I go, okay, that fence extends to a certain point.
It's definitely in
and
play.
then
It's
obviously
it's not out of there.
yeah. No, no, listen, one little swipe fade. But so you get to the first hole, you obviously hit that tee shot, you go way right, and then you also
Hmm.
bogey the third hole. So you like within the first three holes, you gave two back. And then you
Yeah.
start to see some of these names, and I don't know how much you're on your phone or checking the leaderboard, but because I know how I'd be refreshing that damn thing all the time. But you bogey two of the first three. Are you all of a sudden are negative thoughts creeping in your mind like, is this really going to go the other way this early?
No. I knew with the reroute that opening stretch was like the
Hard.
hardest couple. That's like the hardest stretch that you could probably play on any golf course. So I knew that opening stretch, you're not going crazy low. You're not going two, three under through that. Like even like two over is not that bad considering it. Um, so I wasn't really nervous, and I struck the ball pretty well. Like on three, I think I hit a 6 iron or something. It was like 200. I struck it well. I just pulled it in the left bunker, and then just take your medicine, make a four. Um, so it wasn't really like I wasn't nervous. I wasn't constantly checking the leaderboard. But I knew I needed to kind of just let's just play some golf. Just hit the ball like I know how to.
Yeah, and I think I think the birdie on 7 definitely helped. I think that kind
Hmm.
of, at least looking at that. But then obviously you followed it with a bogey on 8. So like you make the turn at 37 and you kind of can, again, I know what I'm doing. I'm refreshing the damn thing and I'm looking and I see Jack Wall kind of like making a little bit of a push behind you. And then as the back 9 kind of started, you make bogey on 10, you make a nice bounce back birdie at 11, but then you bogey 13 and Jack has just gone birdie on 12 and 13 to kind of like get right on your heels. And I think for
Hmm.
someone like us, like, you know, the drama, the entertainment of now I'm refreshing that thing, kind of seeing like, what is a guy like Jack going to do? How all of a sudden is he going to start firing more at pins? He's got a par 5 coming up. Derek is right there. Like in that start of the back 9 there, are you feeling like Jack is coming? Do you sense like there's other people like right on your heels, or are you still able to stay in this like calm state of mind? Like, hey, listen, I kind of know what I need to do. I just got to go back and kind of reset and re-execute things.
Um, no, going into that back 9, I was actually fairly confident because I probably had one of the greatest up and downs I've ever had on 9. Um, pull it way left, super dead, like auto 5 over there. And kind of by like the little small tree and fescue.
Yeah,
You
I
have
know.
like you have like 3 paces to work with or something like that. Just hit it on the green, had like a 60 plus footer, and I made that. I was like, okay, like now we're talking. So
Wow.
There you
I
go.
drained that one. That was huge. Going into the back 9 gave me confidence, and
Dude, that
then
real quick, real quick,
kind of
real quick,
flared a
real
three.
quick,
What?
real quick.
Mhm.
Dude, that making that par on 9 like that, I did not know that. That
That's
because
huge.
the
Mhm.
oh my, it's beyond huge because you come off a bogey on 8, you make that
Yep.
bomb on 9. I didn't know that. I just assumed it was like a natural, normal 2 putt par because you bogeyed 11,
Yeah.
bogey 10. Excuse me, you bogeyed 10. So that would have been 3 in a row.
Hmm. Yep.
Wow, that's a huge par.
Yeah.
That's a huge par.
Yeah. So
So
I don't. It was a great putt. It went in, and I was like, I was kind of fired up. I was like, all right, let's go to this back 9, and it's very gettable, the back 9. So I was like, let's go out there and play some golf. And didn't hit a great tee shot on 10, kind of blocked out. So I just took a 5 again. But then hit a great shot on 11, made the putt like a 10 footer. So I was like, all right, like I'm back in this. It's par 5 and short par 4, par 5, and it kind of levels out. And I didn't know where Jack was at all. I know he was a great player, but I didn't check the leaderboard at all throughout that first. I really didn't check it at all. My caddy was kind of involved with that. He kind of knew where I was standing. Um, and he didn't really let me kind of look at that throughout the final round, which he just he was just dropping little pointers, little hints at where I was at to just kind of keep me focused, not because I was getting a little discouraged how I wasn't really taking advantage of opportunities I had at birdies. But he kept me in it. He kept me focused and like upbeat, and I just kind of went out and played.
I think and as you're going through that like little stretch there, after you make the bogey on 13 and I kind of was wondering like that could have been the turning point. Like it could have went either way. Jack coming off 2
Hmm.
birdies, both of you are going into the par 5. It's like I kind of was wondering like what was going to happen at that point. And knowing that Jack made par there and then kind of just like, pieced his way in, I think the birdie on 17 was huge. I think that kind of just put the stamp on the whole thing. Is that kind of how you felt after you made the birdie on 17? You're like, all right, this walk up 18 is not only an absolute phenomenal walk up there. You got the clubhouse in the background, all the chairs up there. People I'm sure are packed. The leaderboards there. Like after that birdie on 17, you got to think walking up 18, this is one special walk.
Yeah, so hole 14, missed a short birdie, and on the par five, I missed a short birdie, and I was like, crap, kind of needed that. Then I played good holes on 15, 16, got to 17. I was striking, all day I was hitting the ball terribly, so 17 was kind of daunting at that point. And I had no idea where I stand. My caddy just told me like, hey, like let's just hit some quality golf shots coming in this last two holes. And so I kind of did when I kind of needed to the most. I hit in the center of the fairway on 17, probably my second fairway all day, to be honest. Um, and then hit a great 5-iron into the wind on 17, put myself exactly where we wanted to, straight back up the hill, pin high. And we were kind of looking at that putt for like a decent bit because it was kind of double breaking. How much uphill is it? But I told my caddy, I was like, you know what? I got it. It's straight in, it's gonna drop. And it went in, so I was like, all right. My instant reaction was, we're back in this. I didn't know I had a lead, or I didn't know where anything stood. So I was like, all right, I'm back in this. Like, let's just hit a good tee shot on 18, make a four, and whatever happens, happens. Because I had no idea where I was. And then that walk on 18 was, after I hit my tee shot, it was pretty stressful because I snipe hooked one left into the tree, had like 200 yards in on like what seems like the shortest hole in America. And I was like, how do I have 200 yards in on this hole? But as soon as I hit my shot and I knew it was on the green, I was like, okay, I can kind of like enjoy the walk no matter where I finish, if it's winning this event or if it's heartbreakingly coming in second.
Yeah, listen,
Yeah.
it's a special win at a special
really is.
place,
Mhm.
for a kid like you that seems to have a special story. So I mean, I think, after you make that final putt, I think the deep breath that you must have had after that and the joy that you had walking away from that golf course with that trophy, knowing that you grew up right across the street on the other side, a public school kid who went to the local high school, went to the, local university, didn't need all the other stuff that, look, listen, some people are fortunate to have. You
Mhm.
just didn't let that deter you. So listen, I kudos to you, dude. I love your story. I do. And I guess my last question for you is like, what's next? What's next on your schedule this summer? Where are you going to? Are you going to play some Met stuff, or are you kind of just gearing up for the last few weeks of summer?
And Derek, before you answer, I got to run, but I did want
Okay.
to say congrats. This has been awesome. I look forward to following you at Rutgers, and that's an awesome win. To only be the 14th amateur to do it is really impressive. So good for you.
Thank you.
Good luck this season.
Thank, thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you for having me here.
Yeah, no problem.
So just answer that last one and I'll let you bounce out of here. But what is next for you?
I have this Monday, the 29th, actually, I have a Met Open qualifier. So head up there with my mom, try and qualify, see how that goes. Um, but then I played Met Am and then over at Somerset, which I like that place a lot too. I played it
Mhm.
once, so that's just a great place to play. Have my dad on the bag for that, so that'll be fun.
Nice.
Um, so yeah, I play Med Am, hopefully Med Open, and if not, I'll take a couple days off and then just get ready for the upcoming fall campaign with the Rutgers team. But like what's coming next, like far down the road. I'm not too worried or thinking about that. I'm trying to stay in my where my feet are, and just hopefully hopefully can win again soon.
Yeah, listen. I appreciate you coming on today's show. I appreciate you talking a little bit about your background and just kind of reliving those moments at the state open. I'm sure are going to be ingrained in your mind for quite some time. So listen, I appreciate it very much for coming on today's show, and best of luck throughout the rest of your summer and into the fall.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. I had fun reliving some of those memories.